Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. McCollum staying with him. Spins, gets inside, left-handed off the glass. Oh, what a sweet move.
Giddy, tough spot, backdoor, what a pass, what a play. And J-Dub picks the pocket of Trae Young. He'll take it himself.
This is Lou Dort. You're listening to the Uncontested.
What is up, everybody? Welcome to the Uncontested Weekly Show, part of the Blue Wire Podcast Network and DailyThunder.com. I'm your host for the night, JD Silva, joined by one fella, Taylor Peterson.
What a day, what a couple of days it has been as a Thunder fan. And Silva, for us, for Kamiar, both of our teams in blue win today.
Still
with a Chelsea W
earlier.
And I know it wasn't perfect, but that's why we're not a Chelsea podcast. We're a Thunder podcast, and we have two extremely fun and exciting games to break down. Just a lot of fun things to break down with this team right now in general, moving forward.
Chris had Christmas a couple days ago, and Thunder gave us two gifts back to back immediately after that holiday. It was insane. Jacob should be joining us pretty soon also to join
on his way back from the game. He was
on his
there.
way back from the game. He's going to join the hype train. Before we dig into things, be sure to subscribe to us wherever you get your podcasts. Leave us a 5-star rating. You can find us on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, TikTok. I think we're going to start going live on Instagram sometimes too. So find us there. Thank you guys for joining us in the comments. You guys are popping off. You guys can start leaving questions. The way this show is going to go, a little untraditional since it's after a holiday. We didn't have a Sunday show. Gonna break down the Knicks game, obviously. Sega Baba win. Got to break that down first. And then go to the Timberwolves game from last night, and then just take questions for a while. It's a really exciting time to be a Thunder fan, Taylor. Very, very exciting.
Extremely exciting.
We didn't get to announce our predictions officially this week. I definitely predicted a loss last night and a win tonight. So, I'm happy to be wrong.
Okay, so I was the opposite. I did a W last night and a loss tonight because I was thinking second night of a back-to-back. You and I's favorite term, Silva, Sega Baba.
Sega Baba.
And I just tired legs coming off the holiday. The Thunder have been playing well. I don't know. It just kind of felt like one of those, I don't want to say necessarily a trap game, but almost like a scheduled L.
Yeah.
That certainly was not the case. Then I had an L against Denver here in a couple of days. And then New Year's Eve, I have us coming back home with the W. So we're both 1-1 so far.
Yes. And you said something there that I think intros us into this game very well, which is tonight seemed like a bit of a trap game. The Thunder were playing the 1 seed last night against the Minnesota Timberwolves. They kicked their ass. If you guys did not see the score, it was 129-106. So you would think after that type of beating, the Thunder would kind of let their guard down against a very physical Knicks team the next night that hadn't played for a couple days. And that is not what happened at all. The Thunder leveled up, I think, from the Timberwolves game against the Knicks. They played a great game against the Timberwolves, but I think it was, and the Thunder officially beat the Knicks 129-120 on the Sega Baba to quickly.
I just
J-Dub career high.
Yeah,
to start.
I mean, absolutely insane. Okay, Silva, I was thinking about this. Now I'm completely going on a tangent, but that's what this is all about.
We're just
excitement.
Yes.
So Jalen Williams, J-Dub, tweaks his ankle at the game that I was at last week, right?
And again, all met up at?
Yes, all three of us were at. Yeah, thank you. So he tweaks his ankle. I'm thinking he's listed as questionable. He plays 2 nights later. Thank goodness. It wasn't anything too serious. I don't even think it was taped up, thankfully. But then he's questionable with an illness. Okay, so he comes in questionable with an illness, dropped. Sorry, I'm going back right now to the box
21.
score. Not 21 last night. Tonight, a career high in points. Just absolutely insane. Do you want to just start with, well, I guess we can kind of go through some high points of the game, but just like a ridiculous stat that stood out to me. Stat Muse was on fire after this Thunder win.
Yeah.
J-Dub tonight, 36 points, which is obviously a career high on 0 turnovers. The first Thunder player to record 30-plus points, 5+ three-pointers on 100% shooting. And the only they corrected that. The only other Thunder player to do that is none other than Mr. Kevin Durant. That's pretty absurd company for J-Dub.
illustrate to fans that maybe didn't get to watch how absurd J-Dub was tonight.
Okay, they did not see. I'm just going off the dome here, off the top of the head.
Yeah.
They were not incorrect in their original tweet. He's the first Thunder player to do the same thing as Kevin Durant, but with 0 turnovers in a game.
Absurd that you're even digging, that you can even dig up old Kevin Durant stats to compare to what J-Dub did tonight. Like, I was watching this game on the couch with my girlfriend, and we were like, as the game was going on, it was like,
I was watching it with my dad.
I was like, there's no way J-Dub was
my parents are in town. Yeah.
And he just kept again and again and again and again. And it's like, here lately, the 3-point shooting, which fans and us on the podcast have wanted more volume from him from 3. His last few games, he's been racking up more shots. He took 6 last night. He took 5 tonight. And it's like the volume goes up for J-Dub, but the efficiency remains or gets better. He missed 4 total shots tonight. 4.
It's absurd.
I don't know what
they're tough shots too. I mean, we'll just go ahead and break down J-Dub's game because that was just obviously the highlight of this game. I mean, he matches Shai with 36 points. To your point, only misses 4 shots, but they were I mean, some of those mid-range shots that he was going. Jacob, he's preaching this. He's been preaching this for a month now, or longer than that. And he's exactly right. When J-Dub goes left, he can't be stopped. But the thing tonight, Silva, especially in that second half, he was going right. He was hitting fadeaway jumpers over Julius Randle, Hartenstein, regardless of who it was, he was able to get that shot, get to his spots. But he was making the right reads also. Just a phenomenal game all around from J-Dub. Also had, I believe, he only had 1 steal. I thought 1 steal, 1 block. That's what it was. I thought he had 2. So
weirdly, no rebounds at all. No rebounds. It's kind of whatever. 3 assists, but just phenomenal. Is it just me? So Chet and J-Dub continue to get better as the season goes on, I think. Is J-Dub playing more and more like Shai as time goes on?
See, so something I mentioned early on the season here in some of my post games and on our group podcasts is obviously it was a big emphasis for this team heading into the season for J-Dub to kind of take on the lead role in that second unit to start second quarters when Shai's sitting to kind of fill that role. And no, it wasn't always like perfect, and we're starting to see it really improve. But even from a distributing standpoint, like there's still some work to be done. But he absolutely, to your point, Silva, is kind of filling in that Shai role when Shai sits. And we've just seen that improve more and more and more. Mainly, like to your point, they do it in a very different way.
Yeah.
J-Dub's more explosive, uses that athleticism to create separation. Right. And obviously shooting more threes now over this recent stretch. Where Shai is just the herky-jerky, change of pace, master.
Yeah, it's like a mentality thing, it feels like. With him.
And just the difference in style of play.
Yeah.
But you're exactly right. He's taking on that Shai role and Shai sits. But the most exciting thing is that Shai and Dub are able to do this together. Like we've seen the past 2 games. Against 2 of the better teams in the league. I saw, I think it was friend of the podcast, Derek Parker, tweet out, this is one of the best wins of the Thunder season. And it feels like we keep saying that after each big win, but it's true. And somebody kind of replied with, well, I mean, the Knicks are good, but like, they aren't like one of the they're maybe 4th, 5th best team in the Eastern Conference.
They're fine.
But here's the thing. Second night of a back-to-back, like you mentioned.
That's the thing.
Against last night, playing the best team in the West, they dominated, played so well, a lot of effort. They're making shots. Like everything was gelling perfectly. And like we keep going back to this, it kind of feels like tonight they're going to trail off a little bit. And we kind of saw that.
They started to, yeah. In the third, they really started to sputter. And the Knicks, it was hey, everybody, let's watch Julius Randle shoot free throws for an entire quarter. That's what the third quarter was.
I might even say that. I might even say that for Jacob.
Grinded to a halt.
Because it was ridiculous. Julius Randle, at one point there through the third quarter, had more free throw attempts than the Thunder team as a whole. Shai and Dub started getting to the line a little more there towards the end of the third. Even then, I think they were tied. The Thunder as a team were tied with the same amount of free throw attempts as Julius Randle, which is absurd. But weirdly enough, that wasn't how the game started. I took a screenshot of a tweet I sent out after scoring a season high 40 first quarter points last night. Thunder had 35 with 30 seconds to go. Bertans comes in with a very brief stint. It hits that corner 3 to get them to 38.
Saw that little cameo.
Wild.
Yeah. It's absurd, dude. I don't know. It's almost like we're just kind of soaking in this little pocket after Christmas before New Year's with these 2 games. This is a tough. January is going to be tough. I think in our comments earlier, I wanted to bring this up from Curtis. 17 games in January, 5 back-to-backs.
That's brutal. 5 back-to-backs is crazy.
So you want them to rack up these wins before this really tough month.
Well, and even then, I think I keep interrupting you. Sorry.
No,
it's already
they're winning these games where, like yesterday, I didn't think they'd win. They pick up another one. The Nuggets, I believe I also predicted an L there. They could come out and surprise us there. They truly feel like on any night they can beat any team.
100%. And so, I think the tough stretch has already began. It's not like they're entering. It's not like January 1st hits and that's when the tough stretch happens. Like I mentioned, I was watching the game with my dad tonight. Grandma and Grandpa came down, spent some extra time with Brooks while they're off for the holidays. So I'm watching the game with my dad, and it's, we're already excited. The game's ending. We're talking a lot about J-Dub. And he's like, wait, so we're going to the New Year's Eve game. And he was like,
oh, sick.
The Thunder are on the road again before they come back in New Year's Eve. Like, that's the crazy thing. Obviously, they've had a really nice home stretch here throughout the holidays. I think that's been huge for them just to be at home against some of these better teams. But they're going to head to Denver, play Denver in 2 nights. And they have 1 night in between. They come back home and they play Brooklyn New Year's Eve. Like, that's tough right there. And then, like you mentioned, just a brutal schedule in January. And also we're starting to see some, I don't know, we saw some Trey Man minutes to begin the second quarter. Didn't turn out great, but we saw Micic play really well or solid last night. Like, I think we're going to see more and more of those players. And then Jacob was like, are we seeing Poku? Does that mean we see Poku against Denver? I don't think so.
Now, I will say Jay Will left tonight's game with a hip contusion. So you might need, I almost think they'd play Sarr over Poku at this point. I almost
You're right.
think that.
Now, we've seen a lot of success with that small ball lineup again. They're going back to it. I've been a little frustrated with some of the, I don't know. It almost seems like, and I get it. It's a marathon, not a sprint. Especially like some of those Micic minutes after the Thunder playing so well in that first quarter. I was like, why are we randomly throwing Micic in? And then Trey Man again in the second quarter. Obviously, that is to get players primed to hopefully get a little more deeper rotations into this tough month of January. We're playing so many back-to-backs. But one thing we have seen is Mark kind of tighten up rotations in regards to like Kenrich Williams small ball that we saw be so successful here towards the end of last season before Kenrich got hurt. We're seeing that again. It was extremely effective again tonight. There's the guy who was at the game himself.
The fella, Jacob Niffen, has arrived.
Reporting for duty.
And we gave the duty to the Knicks.
I have no clue where we are in this.
We're just kind of rambling.
We're just kind of having a nebulous conversation about the win tonight. We talked about J-Dub, and then we've just kind of bounced around about
him.
Timothy. Yeah.
Talked a lot so far, Jacob, about like the second night of a back-to-back. I thought it was incredibly impressive that the Thunder came out. I mentioned after scoring 40 points in the first quarter, which was a season high in the first last night against the Timberwolves. And again, just an incredible game against the Timberwolves. Kind of Jacob Silva and I have talked about this almost being like a trap game, and maybe not a trap game, but almost like a scheduled L. Second night of a back-to-back after playing the best team in the West. Obviously, they got off to a really slow third quarter, kind of struggle. We saw some of those tired legs happen. But this team is just able to continue to respond to adversity. It's just incredibly impressive.
Yeah, I thought the Knicks really tried to capitalize on the fact that this game was the second night of a back-to-back. There were multiple times where they just tried to run the ball down the court like as fast as possible. And you could tell the Thunder had some tired legs. Nice night for Jay Will to not that he had a nice night, but this was a nice opportunity for him. He leaves with an injury. Thunder are just tough as shit, man. Defensively, they're just tough as shit. Like,
yeah.
The past 2 nights, they've played 2 teams that love to play big. And they've said, you know what? Let's put 2 6'6" guys as the front court. Let's go J-Dub and Kenrich.
But Jacob, I heard on ESPN they didn't go trade for a center.
We have a very important question here. Camille in the chat says, as a non-American, can somebody explain to him what him means? I believe this is we're calling on the specialty of one Jay De Silva here.
What's the best way to describe this? It's like he's the top dog. He is the alpha. He is the omega. He's like
the alpha and the omega, the beginning and the end.
He's the Holy Spirit.
He's that guy.
He's that guy. Dude.
You're that guy, pal.
And I think it really kind of started with the Shai game winner against the Lakers. Was that at the beginning of last season? I mean, it's crazy to think that far back now.
2 seasons ago, something like that.
He goes, "I'm him."
It's been a while.
And then kind of became a thing on Instagram with his teammates. But yeah, we haven't even talked about Shai yet. I mean, again, another phenomenal game from him.
36, crazy thing 7 and 8, 2 steals, 2 blocks. Yeah.
No big deal.
Him.
Totally pants Julius Randle.
The playmaking is really standing out to me right now. I believe was it the third quarter? You guys might remember better than I. He has some ridiculous move where he's driving to the rim and somehow does like a wrap
like
around.
A Euro whip pass that was about to be like a scoop, and then he like flicked it the other way
to Wiggins in the corner. Wiggins misses the shot again. That was kind of during the stretch in the third where tired legs were settling.
Shai's just ascended. Like, I don't know what else to say. Like 13 of 23, 2 of 5 from 3, 8 of 9 from the free throw line, 7 rebounds, 8 assists, 2 steals, 2 blocks.
Crazy.
Almost team high plus 12 in a 9-point win. I tweeted it out. I talked on 2 Knicks pods recently. And I said a lot of borderline like asinine things, but really aren't that asinine at all.
Oh, okay.
One of the things tonight, like Jalen Brunson is a very good basketball player. The Thunder have guys to throw at Brunson.
Becky Hammond was right.
You got Dort, you got Dub, you got Kaysen, you've got Wiggins, you've got Shai. The Knicks had nobody. Their best bet was Dante DiVincenzo. My God, that is barbecue chicken.
Yeah.
Kept in the smoker for 5 days. It's dried out. It's done. It's cooked. It's over. Like, they had nobody who could check him. They tried Josh Hart. I mean, Josh Hart with the embodiment of Christ maybe would have held him to 30 instead of 36.
The embodiment of him.
You know, and you can say the same thing for 95% of the teams in the NBA. Shit, I thought one of the guys who could stop Shai was Jaden McDaniels, but he and Rudy Gobert got, I can't even think of a good analogy for that one.
As much as I hate Rudy Gobert.
Thank you. Have you guys talked about the Minnesota game much?
Not yet.
I'd like to give a shout out to Minnesota Timberwolves fans who, after that first game in Minnie, had a lot of shit to say in our Twitter mentions about how Rudy outplayed a 21-year-old Chet Holmgren in his 15th NBA game. And I tweeted last night, and I said, where's that energy now, Wolves fans, after Chet made your Depoy look like a child?
A little boy.
Like a little boy.
Shout out to the guy with 80 followers who was a Wolves fan who got very upset with me.
I had to go look. You posted about that in our group chat, and I was like, I got to go look for myself, see what's going on here. It was like peeking over a wall into a war that was happening elsewhere. Pretty dang unbelievable couple of games. I don't even know exactly what angle I want to take. You mentioned SGA being totally dominant. There's like clearly definable stretches of game now where it's just like it's SGA's game. And that kind of happened in the third quarter here when the Thunder were, I don't know the exact phrase, they're in the shit creek. What's the without a paddle? They're in the shit creek. And
I know what you're going for. I can't remember it either.
He took him out of the shit creek. And he did that with defense. He totally just ripped the ball from Julius Randle. I don't know. I don't even know if that was his matchup on that given play. Goes coast to coast, scores, gets to the free throw line, just knows how to dig them out of a situation or close a game.
They're a bunch of two-way guys. Their top 3 dudes are just a bunch of two-way guys who are just dogs, just absolute dogs. Rewinding back to the Minnesota game real quick, up a creek without a paddle. That's
Smoot's got us. Thank you, Smoot.
Rewinding back to that Minnesota game, like the growth from Chet from game 1 in Minnesota to game 2 against Minnesota is absurd. I'm interested to see what the second game against the Knicks looks like. After he got his taste already, he always comes back better. Like, I've wondered, like, is it a flash? Is Chet going to come back down to earth? This is just who he is, man. This is just who he is. Tonight, what was his stat line tonight? It was 9 of 14, 22 points, 5 rebounds, and assist, 4 blocks.
4 blocks. And you guys mentioned, I think it was Silva who mentioned Shai, kind of what he was doing on the defensive end, kind of sparking, kind of helping the Thunder get out of that slump there that they had in the third quarter. There was a play that stood out to me the most. This was a little ways into the fourth. Chet gets an absurd block on Hartenstein. Shai pulls it out in transition, but instead of attacking the rim like Shai is easily could have done, probably would have gotten 2 points there. He kind of peeks back. He sees Dub trailing. He kicks it to Dub. Dub nails the 3.
That was a block.
Second night
that was he beat Randall's shot off the glass.
Oh, it was Randall.
Goodness, sorry.
What the dog doing?
Big dog.
Chet makes. Have you guys noticed that in the second half, in the fourth quarter, when the game's coming down the line, Chet makes some insane defensive plays, like some insane defensive plays. I feel like we can see the game slowing for him in real time. I really do. Some of the things he does offensively, it's like it took a little bit to calibrate tonight defensively. And then once it got there, someone mentioned in the chat, I think it was Smoot, I'm pretty sure all 4 of his blocks were second half blocks. It's like he's got to get in. He's got to get a rhythm. He's got to find out how this team plays and how these guys play that he's never seen before. And then once he settles in, it's a wrap.
Well, and I will say, too, that the rotations in that first half, I think Chet only played 10 minutes in the first quarter, or like even midway through the second. There was 3 minutes, 30 seconds left in the second quarter. I'm wondering why Chet hadn't come back in yet. And I get second I have a back-to-back. Totally understand that. They're trying, again, it's a marathon, not a sprint. I already mentioned that on this podcast. But at the same time, when he's playing at that level, I was a little disappointed. I'm like, we could totally use that. Obviously, the defense and the rim protection when the Knicks were kind of going a little bit of a run there in the second quarter. And I thought the Thunder had a chance to close the door. But then J-Will gets hurt. We see Chet get those minutes in the second half, and he was just phenomenal with them. To your point, Jacob had a really nice stretch there in the third quarter. He sits for a little bit, and then we already know what he did in the fourth. Just absolutely phenomenal. So I think that was part of it as well. It took him a little bit to get into the flow of the game because I think of the rotations. I think the Thunder were being a little cautious with him on the second night of a back-to-back. And Jay Will gets hurt, and we want to win this basketball game, and Chet has a huge impact down the stretch.
I was telling my dad, I called my dad after the game tonight. You guys maybe have mentioned this. I don't know. You know what stretch I think won the Thunder this game tonight? The 3 to 4 minutes to start the fourth quarter, where every possession was a J-Dub Chet pick and roll featuring Taj Gibson.
Just put him in absolute Thunder hell.
No, that's unfair to Taj. They shouldn't be asking that of him at that age.
He doesn't want to be out here.
They just murdered him. Those two guys are finding a chemistry when Shai is off the court. And when you can take Shai off and put Dub on, and the offense doesn't miss a beat, like it's special, man. Like it is. These 3 guys are 25, 23, and 22. Like, I was thinking about it. I went to the game tonight. I was driving home. That's why I was on the pod late. Like, Thunder fans are now talking about, like, Kevin Durant. Go trade for Kevin Durant. Lauri Markkanen. Why do you need to trade for anybody? Your team is... Are they second in the West after the win tonight? Or are they still third?
I haven't looked that up.
I believe they're
regardless,
second now.
You're the second youngest team in the league. You're second or third in the West. You're playing like freaking awesome. You have an identity. Why do you need to make a trade? Why don't you just ride the wave?
Your
And that
big
trio
3
is getting better every
combined for 9.
Every week that trio is clearly getting better. Like J-Dub and Chet are rapidly improving. The trade ideas don't make sense to me unless it is a peripheral piece.
Sixth guy, seventh guy.
Sixth, seventh, eighth guy.
So the big three tonight.
Sorry, go ahead, Taylor.
To both of your guys' points, the big three tonight that we've been talking so much about combined for 94 points. Nick actually had the attempts as well. It was on like 50 something, like just extremely efficient. When your big three scores 94 points together on extremely high efficiency on the second night of a back-to-back, like that cannot be praised enough. I mean, that's phenomenal. And Jacob, something that we were talking a lot about Dub, and one thing that Silva mentions, almost feels like Dub almost takes over that Shai role when Shai sits, when you have a player like that. But I love what you mentioned as well.
Style of game.
When you stack Dub and Chet together there, when Shai's sitting, I mean, it just opens up even so much more. And so the fact that these three can coexist is what's just so impressive to me.
I think I heard you guys. I was trying to listen on my drive home. I think I heard you guys maybe mention this about me. I went to the game with my mother tonight. Every time Dub put the ball on the floor and then pulled up, I looked at her and she caught on. And the second half, she was in it too. I said, he went left. He went left. The top of the scouting report on that man says, do not let him get left. And he gets there. And if he gets left, you are done. Which is kind of crazy for a righty player.
It is.
But if he gets to the left hand, you are cooked. You are in jail. I want to flip the coin to the other side real quick. Two guys we haven't mentioned that I feel is very important. I'll tell you both the names. You guys can choose who you want to talk about. Cason Wallace, Josh Giddey.
Okay,
let's start
Josh, where do you want to start, Taylor?
I was going to say Cason, just because
yeah,
us three specifically, and even our entire podcast talked about it in our group chat that we have on Slack. Cason's definitely regressed in terms of his offense. But it's not just the three-point shot. We knew that was going to come back to reality to an extent. And he's going to go on another stretch here in a couple of weeks or a month or whenever it is where he's going to be hitting those shots again. It's not just the three-point shot, though. It seems like that's kind of thrown him off his game. I remember talking earlier in the season on how impressive Cason is with his off-ball movement. And I compared it to like a slot wide receiver in football. He's so good at kind of getting to those open pockets where a Josh Giddey, a Shai, a Dub can find him with their ridiculous court vision, leading to some easy opportunities for him. It doesn't seem like he's even really doing that right now. And then Jacob was the first to kind of bring this up. He was there, like we mentioned, he was there live, and then Cason immediately had a turnover the next possession after missing a shot. Seems like he's kind of scouting reports out a bit, and he's also, as they're playing better competition, we're going through a tough stretch of competition here for the Thunder. And yeah, I think the game's catching up to him, and he's a little thrown off his game right now.
He's just having a normal rookie lull. As you might see.
And that's totally acceptable. Chet is the exception, folks,
not the rule. Exception. Yes. And Cason still played really good defense, I thought, on Jalen Brunson. Like, really good.
Yeah, a few miscues defensively, and some bad decisions offensively. Taylor, you mentioned the cutting. He had a great cut and got a Shai pass right on the basket and hesitated instead of going up. Got completely collapsed on, turned the ball over. I see people in the comments saying, like, he's a rookie, it happens. Exactly. I think that's the point we're trying to make is rookies have up and downs. This game was like the first big down from Cason that I've really felt all season. So I felt like that was kind of a significant point in the game to mention. Cason might get more opportunities as we move into January and February when the Thunder play 1 billion games. We're already seeing it with Vasa, Trey Mann. I wouldn't be surprised if you see more guys rotate in.
Jacob's cheering for those Poku minutes still.
Hey,
the holy trifecta. Micic, Trey Mann, and
I bet Cason's averages are still pretty dang good. I haven't seen him after tonight, but I bet they're still
their shooting has come down significantly from three. Like I think he's something like sub 20% over his past like 7 or 8. Not shooting nearly as well.
Mm-hmm.
It happens. It's fine.
It does.
I also think they're at the same amount of games right now that he played in college.
Crazy.
That's
so
insane.
that it's a long season. Josh Giddey. If he rolled the ankle against the Lakers. No, the Clippers.
Clippers, yeah.
Clippers.
Yeah.
Yep. That was the game that us three were at.
We were all at. Yeah.
That he was having an incredible game in before he rolled it. Missed the Lakers game. And has come back a new man.
I thought he'd be out for longer than that, by the way.
Oh my gosh. I thought he was going to be out 10 games.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
He has come back reborn from the ashes. He's not taking nearly as many shots. As far as offensive decision-making and like shot selection, I thought tonight was great. Whenever he got the ball in transition or in isolation against Brunson, he just bullied and went to the rim. When he had a speed advantage, he would get by somebody and go to the rim. Besides that, he's involved in screening actions. He's connecting one side of the court to the other, not forcing nearly as much. Had like 6 rebounds tonight. Had like 5 assists in the first 10 minutes of the game last night. I think Josh is starting to find his role with this new team, with Chet, where he is not the main focal guy. And he's really starting to fit in. He and Lou Dort are finding their role as role players, and it's working out really, really well. Now, that's a 2-game sample since he's come back from the ankle, and he's taken like a reduced role. He was on a nice stretch of like being more efficient and playing better all the way back to that Kings game. What was that, 2 weeks ago now?
Yeah.
And then that ankle injury happens, and I was just devastated because I'm thinking like
you felt like he was
was
finally
corner.
getting it. I think he's getting there.
Mm-hmm.
And when you have that big 3, and then you can have Dort and Josh fit into these roles as role players, the team is figuring itself out, which they need to. They're young. They haven't played very many games together. They're figuring each other out. And I think Josh is really starting to find his place, which is a really good thing for this team.
Yeah, it feels like they have told Josh, hey, man, let's work on the foundational stuff about your game. Let's go back to basics and do the simplest things that you know you've always been good at and that you will continue to be good at, which is rebounding, making quick decisions, racking up those easy assists, hitting the outlet passes up ahead, scoring on smaller guys you know you can score on. And he has slowly managed to rack up consecutive games like that. Really curious to see what he looks like against Denver, who is another larger team, and he can't just bully someone like a Brunson or a Quickly like he could have in this game. But yeah, no, I think you're totally right. He's accepted this smaller role. None of us are out here saying that he's going to be an all-star or something. Like, those conversations have definitely shifted after this season, and it's been fine. And he's finding his new way on this new and highly successful iteration of this Thunder team. And I liked what he contributed, even if the box score doesn't look great. 7, 6, and 2.
Here's another thought on Josh and this new role. You mentioned the all-star stuff. I was the one tooting that horn preseason. I'll eat my crow on that. Totally. Like, I get it. Lots of people say, I've experienced this talking to Knicks folks this week who wanted me on their podcast. Saw a lot of comments.
that low-key flex was... I loved it.
Humble brag.
Shout out to both Knicks pods who had me on.
They're awesome.
Great folks.
Blue Wire family.
And the comments of those videos, people saying stuff like, new CBA will prevent the Thunder from keeping this team together. Opposite.
Not true.
New CBA helps the Thunder keep this team together.
Damn you, Bill Simmons.
Except you can't have a ton of guys on the max. And that's another thing with this Giddey development. You don't have to worry. Like, Giddey's not getting a max.
Right.
No.
That's spot on.
Like, with the rising cap and the new TV deal, what if Giddey got like 100?
I think that's very fair for both sides, including Josh.
And then you have the money. Not have the money. You have the ability under the rules to max Dub and Chet whenever that comes up. Not this coming summer, but the following summer. And there's no discussion there. It's, here's the contract. It is a max contract. Please sign it. And then those are your 3 guys. You've got Josh on what would, I think, become a team-friendly deal. You have...
And tradable contract. Not
Dort,
to be the
Dort
hater,
on a team-friendly deal. Like, you'd have that's another benefit of this, I think, for sure.
I agree. And that is interesting that you had those comments from bigger market fans, that you noticed, Jacob. I think that's a really good point. I think the biggest thing that stood out to me from Giddey, and I know we need to move on from Giddey, but just like you guys mentioned, even prior to his ankle turn, is a decisiveness. Early on in the season, he was just struggling so much. It just was very robotic. Wasn't sure, again, A, where he fit, B, I need to be more aggressive and try and score. He's not playmaking, creating for others like he's so great at. And what we've seen over the past week, 2 weeks, and really here over the past couple of games, it's just the decisiveness has been so much better. Now, there's still been some lapses I've been disappointed in, maybe some pretty poor defensive rotations, or, for example, last night, Nick was lighting me up on the Uncontested Twitter account because I tweeted one bad thing about Giddey because he gets the ball in front of our rim after I think he got the rebound, or somebody got the rebound, kicked it out to him. He gets stripped by a Minnesota defender. I think it was McDaniels, of course, and just was awful, at least to, no pun intended, an uncontested layup for the Timberwolves. There's still some lapses like that from Giddey, but to your guys' point, it seems like he is settling into a new role, and just that decisiveness is what's really stood out to me here over the past couple of weeks.
Maybe we need to shift the Poku Nectar conversation. That bit kind of dead in the water. Maybe that needs to shift over to Josh.
Maybe
I'd like to see some Josh Giddey flash to the high post. Like we've seen them do that with Chet. It's been awesome. I'd like to see a little bit of that.
Helped them break down the zone yesterday against
exactly
Timberwolves.
Silva, you want to take some of these comments and questions in the chat before we leave?
Yeah.
I know a bit of a shorter show tonight because it started late.
Let's go through. You guys, if you guys see any, feel free to just pop them up. I'm starting at the top and going down.
Matt agrees with me on the trade. He said, imagine thinking the Thunder need to trade for somebody in order to win a championship this year. Don't think they're getting a title.
No.
But
I've seen a lot of
Go ahead.
I've seen a lot of really smart people saying this is clearly the trade deadline that the Thunder need to capitalize on.
It's time to push the chips to the middle of the table.
It's like, yeah, why?
I've talked to some folks recently who covered the league nationally, who say there's no reason the Thunder can't win one playoff series and maybe even be in the Western Conference Finals this year if the matchups break right.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think that's the biggest thing.
That's
it's
insane.
You look at the past two games.
Insane.
We're talking about these really the big three. I think the last thing you want to do is go and trade for somebody who's going to take a lot of those shot attempts and really the experience away from these guys. These guys haven't even played in a playoff series together. I want J-Dub to get those reps. I want Chet to get those reps. Obviously, Shai's going to do Shai things, but I don't want somebody to take away from that. Now, I do understand, and I think that's why we've seen more rumors than in the past however many seasons of Presti being a little more aggressive on the trade market this season for somebody a little more peripheral, trying to get somebody as a depth piece to help them come playoff time and down the stretch of the season. But to trade for Lauri Markkanen or Donovan Mitchell or whatever the big name is on the trade market just doesn't make sense when you have your big three who are all under the age of 25 combining for 94 points on the second night of a back-to-back. That just doesn't make any sense to me.
We have a shout out to Mark, who we didn't really talk about, but damn good basketball coach, fellas.
I mean, just destroying those challenges. The efficiency there. It's like Isaiah Joe from three.
Yeah. He's awesome.
With the rotations too. So, and I talked a little bit about that before you jumped on, Jacob. Going back to that small ball with Kenrich here over the past couple of games has been huge. And then tightening the lineups there in the second half. I fully expected to see Micic or Bertans or somebody like that in the second half. That wasn't the case.
Matt responded and said he was maybe 80% too excited when he dropped that comment.
I think we all are.
Carey brings up a good point. The guy who shot the half-court shot got a pigeon, which is like a wedgie, but up above the backboard. And then a Knicks player came over there with another ball, and tried to throw it up and hit that ball out and got the second ball stuck. So we had two balls stuck up there. And then like 5 minutes later, somebody else got the ball stuck up there, which just incredible. Just incredible. Lots of people in the chat talking about trades again. You know what trade I want them to make, guys?
Danny Avdia?
Yes.
Yes.
You know what other trade I want them to make?
Beef stew.
Trade up in this year's draft and get J-Dub's brother. I've been on this kick for 2 years now. If they end up with Cody, I swear to God, I might ask to be adopted by the Williams family. Like,
oh yeah, it would be
awesome.
wild. Cody's been really good for Colorado. Also, Nick and I have been talking. Jacob, if you want to jump in with us, I think we're going to start just a little bit of maybe like start dropping some an occasional bonus draft pod like we did last year. It's about that time, and Cody Williams will obviously be a topic. So,
Smoot says Cody or Alex Sarr. You got the picks.
Alex.
Trade for both.
Yeah, that's right.
This is true. I know very little compared to I know very little about this draft, but Alex Sarr does seem to fit like a need.
Kind of.
More.
Is it a need? I mean, they just
maybe
played
not.
6-6 Kenrich Williams against Karl Anthony Towns and beat him by 25.
A need or a luxury. That's what Fred Katz tweeted out. Former Thunder beat writer, now is the athletic beat writer for the Knicks. And not only is this Thunder team really good, but it's something along the lines of they also own your favorite team's first round pick.
Yeah, they own your favorite team's first rounder. Let's leave on this. I pitched this idea to Silva the other day. Let's do 2 rounds of this. Meek says, are you starting to feel more confident about our ability to win a 7-game playoff series? Let's start with JD is first pick. I'm second pick. Taylor is third. And we'll snake it. So Taylor is fourth. I'm fifth. JD is sixth. I want to draft Western Conference teams who are in the playoff discussion who you feel most confident with the Thunder winning the series. Like if you had to make a list, top is who I want to play in the playoffs. Bottom is who I don't want to play in the playoffs. Let's draft our ideal Thunder opponents for them to win a first-round series. You can't put the Spurs in there. You can't put Utah in there.
Yeah.
You have to put in teams that will like be in the playoff for the play-in. Silva, you got first pick.
Okay. How about? Oh boy. Okay. Now that I'm actually looking at these teams, it is tough. It is very tough. I kind of want to say Dallas.
Okay.
Is that insane?
No,
I would not. I don't think I would have gone that. But I get it. I really get it. It's just like they've been so good.
I know. I just trust Mark.
That's tough.
I trust Mark. Everything is Luka, and I just trust Mark could game plan against that well.
Well, like I go through this entire list of the Western Conference teams, and I kind of feel the same way. Like they can match up and they can win a 7-game series.
Yeah,
I still don't. Just based off how they started the season, I'm not sure that'd be my first pick.
I know.
But I get it.
You're
I
going
get it.
Dallas number 1. I will take.
I know.
It's tough actually looking at it.
It's really tough.
Can I let me check on the rules. Can I only take teams that are in the top 10 right now?
That's a good question.
See, I was looking at down to 11.
Okay, if I can go to 11, I'm taking Golden State.
Yeah,
that's a good
That's
one.
kind of what I was thinking.
I'm taking Golden State.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
This is where it gets difficult because to your point, Silva, like I said, I look at all these teams in the Western Conference 1 through 10, and like
just a bunch of veteran, old
it could
playoff.
happen, right?
Yeah,
Right. I would like our chances in a 7-game series, but if I had to pick one here, probably this one would kill me because of just how invested I would be in personally. But the Houston Rockets in a 7-game series without that depth, I think the Thunder would be able to pull off a win in a series fairly.
Totally
handily.
agree in that one. Houston would be my next pick. Taylor, you got the next one as well.
Oh yeah, snake draft.
Snake
So, man, it's hard to say the Pelicans when you have somebody like Zion who can just be an absolute bruiser. But at the same time, I don't trust that team in a 7-game series, nor do I trust their depth at all. So I think the next one I'm going with, it's just a spot above the Houston Rockets in the current standings. I'm going with the Pelicans.
That's fair.
I think that's
I will take the Los Angeles Lakers.
I thought about that one too.
LeBron scares the hell out of me, even though he's.
Oh, I'm sorry. Can I go back? Can I go back?
Yeah.
I don't want the Lakers. I meant to say the Suns.
Oh yeah, I don't blame you for that at all.
Less depth.
No depth. No
Same
depth
team
at all.
Less depth.
Super injury prone.
I damn near picked them first.
I would definitely go there. Yeah. So you got the last one.
So it's
Lakers, Clippers, Kings.
It's gonna be one of those probably. Lakers, Clippers, Kings. I kind of want to go Lakers.
Okay.
I agree.
The AD factor doesn't scare you?
Not really. Not in a 7-game series. I don't.
If AD's doing that every game, like you kind of let him have that, and
right,
you lock down everything else, mainly LeBron, and you make the Lakers shooters beat you, which I'm not sure they're able to do.
I don't know. I don't like the other, like the Kings. They have a lot more. It seems like the Thunder play poorly against the Kings for whatever reason, and they have a lot of wing shooters. They have Sabonis, who gives Chet a hard time, gives a lot of opposing bigs a hard time. It's just very like bruising in a non-traditional way. And then the Clippers, I'd rather not play against Paul George, Kawhi, and James Harden and Russell Westbrook. Like I just
Agreed.
rather not do that.
Agreed.
I agree.
That's a fun little exercise. We'll see how we feel about that. Like when we get closer to playoff time.
I was hoping
Memphis
could All-Star time. We kind of revisit.
Memphis has won 4 straight, but they don't count. They got so much of a hill to climb.
I know.
I was telling my mom tonight, we're going to be watching basketball when it's warm outside. That actually matters in OKC this year.
Cannot wait.
Maybe
we'll have some
another
awesome content.
We just voted to fund a $1 billion arena. Stop making the halftime show old woman Zumba. Cut that shit out. If we can fund $1 billion arena, get me some jackass. Get the guy off the corner down there at Reno
doing the drums
on his little drums. Yes. That's more entertaining than watching Taylor's grandma dance to Zumba on the Thunder logo at midcourt. What are we doing?
You know what that makes me think of? Like, I just imagine, I know this wasn't the music in the background, but I think of like Madagascar. I like to move it. And it's just that the whole entire halftime. Are you
They played that. They played Snap Your Fingers.
Shout out them franchise boys.
They did not play
Lean with it, rock with it. Oh, Snap Your Fingers is Lil Jon.
2010. They did not play a song from the past decade.
Lord, I know that it can get cold, okay, but I'm the coldest.
People would rather see that than the Zumba woman.
And at halftime performance, Game 6, second round Western Conference playoffs.
J1K.
That would be more entertaining. I swear to God. If anybody paid the Zumba folks to come out there.
Shout out Scooby. So Scooby was awesome.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, we had a good one last week, us 3.
Yeah, Scooby was cool. Shit, just get a normal dog out there to walk around a bit. My God.
I got
doggy daycare at halftime. I'm in.
I would have rather watched the Paul George Team USA scrimmage on loop.
Goodness.
We're getting out of here after that one. Oh, boy. Our comments are... that was a go to Jacob Rant. We need more of that.
We do.
We need more of that. Wow. What a couple of games.
Shit, where's the Tylenol?
Make halftime great again.
Oh, my God. Great couple of games. Another one against Denver here in a couple of days. All right.
We got 17 games in January.
5
Hope you guys like
Sigababas.
the Uncontested Podcast because we're going to be around a bit next month.
Yeah. Join us for those shows. Join us after the Nuggets game. Join us on Sunday. Join us in the comments while we're live. Join us on your podcast feed of choice afterwards when we upload this bad boy. Until then, adios and thunder.